Morning. Welcome to Tea Time with Amie and Bev. Here we are,
Good
another
morning.
Wednesday.
Yay!
Well, we say Wednesday. You're watching this whenever.
That's right. Good day.
Good day. Oh, I got to tell you a funny story. It's kind of comical. So on Wednesday evenings, I facilitate a book study. I've been facilitating a book study on Wednesday evenings for over 5 years now. It's like amazing to me. I'm like, wow. Anyway, that's really irrelevant. But anyway, we're reading a book by John Holland. It's called Power of the Soul. And in the very first chapter, he talks about a meditation practice. And the meditation practice is you breathe in, you count one, exhale. Or you count one, breathe in, exhale. Count two, breathe in, exhale, right? And then you do that for a count of 10, and then you do it, you breathe in, breathe out, count one. Breathe in, breathe out, count two. And then you do that for 10 rounds. Then you bring your attention to the tip of your nose. And you hold your focus there, right? And you breathe. And you can keep counting if you want, but the idea is to drop the counting, keep breathing, but bring the focus to the tip of your nose. So last week we started this and I did it. I was using his method. And then next morning, I'm not kidding you, I had a zit on the tip of my nose. I was like, I don't know if I like this meditation or not.
That's kind of crazy.
I was getting ready the next day and I looked, I was like, are you kidding me right now? It was so funny.
That's crazy.
That's one reason why I love makeup. You cover that stuff up.
Me too. That's funny.
Oh, so fun. Anyway, that's my funny story for the week.
It's funny that you even bring up meditation because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, God, what do we want to talk about today? And meditation was one of the things that popped up.
There you go, right?
Exactly. Because for some reason I seem to struggle with it. I think I find many different ways of meditation. Like I'll do it before I go to sleep. Things like this happen for me in the middle of the night. If I wake up, to me it's just an opportunity. But like to practice it, to just go out and practice it, I don't seem to find the time for it when I can have the time for it. But also remembering that we do it in so many different ways, right?
Yep.
When I'm doing massage, if I'm really paying attention to that massage and the body and stuff, I'm into a meditation. And meditation isn't really just letting your mind rest. It's not, process. I mean, if things pop up, then process it, right? Like, see it for what it is or ask what you need to do with it or whatever. But it's like we're doing it all the time. And for some reason I have this need, like I feel like I need to do this. But it's like I think I'm just more of a pressure that I'm putting on myself instead of just allowing it to be, right? So
Yep.
it's been kind of interesting that I'm noticing that, and I'm actually having this conversation with you because I'm just now recognizing what I've been doing. Because I know we can do it all the time. All the time, all the time.
Yep.
And that's just being more in connection with allowing,
Yep.
quieting.
And let's just get back to meditation. Actually, if you look it up, it's a contemplation. So people, even myself included, back in the day when my mind was racing 100 miles a minute, I thought meditation just meant no thought. Like I had to have no thoughts. First of all, unless you've practiced meditation for a very long time and very diligent on it, that is challenging to have no thought. But meditation can be contemplation. Now, contemplation to me, and I'm just going to give my opinion about what that means. So if I'm sitting and I'm focused, I always bring my focus to my breath to get me grounded where I'm at, right? But then thoughts creep in. And let's say a thought creeps in about oh, you shouldn't have made that decision when you were 22, blah, 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 right? Okay, well, that's like either a shame or a guilt thing coming up. So the contemplation is not to sit there and go, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally screwed that up. I shouldn't have done that, and start beating yourself up about it. The contemplation is, okay, well, why did I make that decision? What was really going on for me at that time in my life? What was my programming? What were my beliefs? What did I know to do at that time? That's the contemplation. But the mind chatter is typically all the shit from the past and then all the worries of the future, and you're scattered in different directions of things that you have no control over. The past is done, the present's not guaranteed. So you just have this moment. So in this moment, if a thought comes in while I'm meditating, I'll be like, oh, okay. And I try to stay away from the word analyze. I mean, that just sounds heavy. It's like analyze, so contemplate it, right? Contemplate it. And it's not I have to meditate. It's that I get to. I get to take the time for my mind and my body to relax. And that's another part of meditation, is allowing your body to relax. You relax your thoughts, you relax your body. I mean, the body responds to whatever's going on here. So if your intention is to relax, the body's going to respond to that. If you're having these random thoughts that are probably the same thoughts you're having that you had yesterday and the day before that and the day before that, for my example was, as soon as my alarm went off, I went right into past mode. And then all the shame, the guilt, criticism, judgments, fears, anger, resentment, I mean, it all just was coming up in me every single day. So if that's what I'm thinking about, my body's going to respond to that. So those are very stressful thoughts. So my body was in a stressful mode pretty much the whole time I was awake. And I can just imagine that when I actually went to sleep, my body was like, oh, thank you, God, because she finally shut up, So, yeah.
I get it. You talked about breaths. So one of the things that I'll do too, and it's the same thing, you slow down enough and you just like take some deep breaths. We've all been in, I believe most of us have all been, since we were probably children, fight or flight of some sort, right? Always in fight or flight. If you're in fight or flight, you're not taking breaths. Your breath is always shallow breathing because you're always prepared. You can hear better. Everything's different.
High intensity alert.
Do what?
High intensity alert. And so that is the shallow breathing, because you're just like, all right, who's going to attack me next?
That's right. We're paid attention to everything outside of self, right? And when you take a deep breath, it automatically takes you into self. It slows you down. And that's what I would say probably for most people. And I've been telling my clients some of this recently too, is like, notice your breathing. Because even though you're resting right now, you're shallow breathing. I want you to take slow, deep breaths in, just slow. Feel the breath come all the way into the belly, just breathe it in and then blow it out really slow. Because most of us aren't.
Right.
And I feel like that keeps us in this high stress all the time. So, creating the disease and everything else as well. But it just keeps you in a space of, just that fight or flight, just constantly ready for something to happen outside of self, only when we don't even realize how much more control we do have. And that's one of the ways that we, again, go back to self-love. You're treating yourself with self-love because you're bringing yourself within. You're giving your body breath. Oxygen is our life. I mean, we need it. And the more we get of it, I remember going through, when I was in massage school, one of my teachers said one of her students looked pale and her hair looked really horrible, just dry and brittle and everything else. And they started practicing breath work. And she said within a few weeks that she noticed a difference in her skin, within her hair, within everything. So it's just, it's, again, when your body's going through stress, you're producing cortisol and probably a bunch of other different chemicals, and your body's then trying to calm itself down. And that's why we get into these places of, something scares you, and it's like, it takes you like 20 minutes just to relax yourself back down again, because your body doesn't, you're trying to soothe yourself. It's trying to soothe itself. It's releasing chemicals and hormones and stuff to soothe itself. It's like little things just so simple as breath.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this a few weeks back was it might have been longer than that I mean it is astounding what stress does to our body. But because we've been in that fight or flight, that survival mode for so long, that's what we know. And so if we're not in that state within ourselves, then it's unknown territory. You're like, oh my God, I'm calm and peaceful. Something should be happening right now. How come, I'm not feeling all crazy and weird, right? How come I don't have all these thoughts going on in my head? And so it goes, it's the same thing as quitting your job to start a business. It's the unknown. It's that fear. It's the same thing with ourselves.
Yes.
It took me a while to get it because I was on that high alert survival stress mode every single day as long as I was awake, and for years, even from childhood.
Yes.
And so to step out of that and have a more quiet mind, like not as many thoughts going on, being present was foreign. It took me quite a while to be okay with that state because I didn't know that state. It was like, what is happening right now, right? So yeah. Stress. It's like when I teach a meditation class and I talk about stress, I'm like I just want to shake people because it's like you just don't understand.
Yeah.
And in that process, if you decide to start a meditation practice, it's very healing for your mind and your body and your spirit, right? When I talk about healing, I usually say 4 levels, and that means mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And I put them in that order because whatever is going on here mentally, your body responds. So emotion comes up. Then the emotion affects the physical body. And if you're clouded with all that shit from the past, your spirit is dimmed.
Yes.
So it's like, I think about, my physical body, that all that stress in it is dimming that light. So when I'm aware of what I'm thinking about mentally, which is affecting my emotions, which then affects my body, then I'm getting into that spirit. I'm getting deeper into that spirit. And when you start a meditation process, you'll get it. I mean, to me, I feel like it just becomes an automatic process after a bit that you are healing, because meditation also is a practice of being present. Right here, right now. You're not living in the past or the future. You're right here, right now. So you're not having all those thoughts in either direction because you're right here, right now. Right. And when you practice that more and more throughout your day, just being present. Like I don't need to be in a meditation mode to go, oh, I see a plant, I see, a picture, I see a fireplace, I see a chair, I see a table. Like I don't need to be in a meditation to do that. That is being present. But I'm releasing the attachments to the past and the future and the thoughts. And by doing that, it relaxes your body, and then there's more oxygen and more blood flow, which is feeding those areas, like the girl with the brittle hair. I mean, it's just so beneficial to practice that more and more and more for relaxing, because the benefits that you get. And what I was saying was the healing, like the healing becomes an automatic process of a meditation practice. And ladies, hear me when I say this. This is good for men too, but ladies, hear me when I say this. Your skin changes, your complexion changes. You go from dull skin to bright skin. I mean, it physically changes your body just by learning to relax. and getting out of that survival mode.
Yeah, because in survival mode, what normally happens? You lose blood to all of your organs, your main organs. It's going into your limbs. It's like prepared for takeoff, or to hide, or whatever we need to do. It's prepared. So when we are more relaxed, we're getting more of a breath. We're replenishing ourselves. So when we're relaxed in that state, that space, we're actually allowing ourselves to receive the blood supply into the face and everything else in the breath. Breathing and carrying more oxygen through the body and helping facilitate everything actually more open. Everything's not tightened off or squeezed off, not allowing things. Where only a little bit's trickling into areas, it's allowing it to flow.
Right. I'm like, just recently, about a month ago, there were 3 of us in a room, 3 of us born the same year, and one of them looked at least 15 years older than me. At least. I thought she was in her late 60s, to be honest, so a little more than 15 years. But she goes, oh yeah, I was born the same year too. I was like, I'm sure my facial expression had a statement. I wasn't trying to be rude, but because already in my head I was like, oh, this lady, is just old. It was a judgment call. But then when she said she was born the same year, it was like immediately my brain just went into, it's because this is my programming with the coaching practice that I have and what I teach, that my brain immediately went to, man, this lady is still living in survival mode. This lady is still on high alert. Even though she was practicing being kind and upbeat a little bit. But I know enough from my practice that I was like, oh, sister, here's my card. It's like, but yeah, it just, it just, for me, it just keeps confirming that this is what stress does to your body. And how many times have you heard the stories that I go to the doctor and they can't find anything wrong with me? They don't know how it came about. They don't. Well, first of all, a doctor doesn't live with you, and they're not going to ask you your whole life story because they don't have the time. But they don't know where it came from either. So they're just like, I don't know how. There's nothing to have physically caused this symptom. There's nothing, like we ran all the tests, nothing's wrong. And that diagnosis, this cracks me up every time I say it. That diagnosis is idiopathic. It's an idiopathic diagnosis. And I thought, are you kidding me? This can't be real. I didn't believe it was real. Well, apparently Spirit needed to confirm with me that it is real because my husband had gone to the doctor, and I was looking through the paperwork he brought home. And sure enough, he had an idiopathic diagnosis. I'm like, okay, well, there you go. It's real, I guess.
They just don't know.
Nope. And what it is he has gout. And they're like, we don't know why you have gout. Looking at my books, I know why he has it, but he's on his own journey, and that's his choice where he wants to be with that. So, but that goes to show you, like what we talked about before, is that when you want an answer to something or you want guidance about something, ask. And so I was like, this is really a diagnosis? Seriously? Like I was questioning it, I'm thinking, there's no way they put this on your paperwork. No way. This can't be real. And so Spirit's like, here you go. It is. So it's asking for the guidance. And that's also what meditation is about. So meditation could be prayer.
Yes.
Pray and ask for help. Most of the time, majority of the time, probably 100% of the time, people are asking for something in prayer.
True.
Just saying, dear God, please keep my family healthy. That is asking for something. So, dear God, please help me, find a way to pay my bills. That is asking for something. So I'm going to say almost 100% of the time, 100% of the time, when we're praying, we're asking for something. The problem with that is, here's the problem. In the moment that you're asking the help and guidance through prayer, you're in the present moment. You're having a conversation with your God, angel, spirit, higher self, guides, whatever that is. The problem with it is that as soon as you get done with that prayer, people get up and go back to their busy life. So if you said, dear God, please help my family stay healthy. Okay, so then you go about your day, but you're busy in your head, and somebody comes across your path and says, oh my gosh, I just read this book about stress. I think it'd be really helpful for you if you read it. And you go, oh, okay, thanks. Well, dear God is helping you with your health. Or Amie and Bev's talking about stress and meditation. We're helping you with your health. But you're too busy, or you don't have time, right? You don't have time to read that book, or you don't have time to meditate, or you don't have time to change your, oh, I'm not stressed. How many times have you heard that? I'm not stressed. And I'm like, oh, sister, we need to have a conversation, because I've only known you for a couple minutes. I know you're stressed. Sorry. So, but yeah, we ask through prayer, and then we go back to our busy life, and we don't take the information that has been delivered. Recently, I heard or I read a quote, and it said, like, humans are messengers in disguise, or something like that. It's like, I don't know the exact quote, but it's like, we're still the workers of spirit world. We deliver the message that you've asked for. So when I say, hey, stress is detrimental to your body, you need to do something different, and you're like, oh yeah, and you don't do anything different, I'm a messenger. You're a messenger. The person who gave you a book about stress is a messenger, right? Maybe you're scrolling through Facebook and something pops up about meditation, or something pops up about stress. That was a messenger. Somebody had to have posted that. And in divine timing says, here, you asked, here's the information. But if you just keep scrolling, you're not receiving your messages. But you got to be present in the present moment.
It's true. It is. You talked about a few different things there. And one of the things was asking, because I've learned that asking, right? But I've also was told recently, ask Jesus to help you release all the darkness from yourself. But this person said, take a deep breath in, and then ask the question, and then blow it out. And then I started just saying, okay, God, I just want to let go of anger. It's like, and I guess what? I haven't done a lot of work on it, but it's just fallen away from me.
Yeah.
I've asked for different things, and this has just been in the last few days. I've just asked for different things and doing that breath, but I'm in a different space now. You said you noticed someone recently that, you're under stress, and it's like, God, there were so many times that I thought I wasn't under stress. I didn't think I was stressed. I didn't think I was stressed. I worked at the jail, and I left that environment, which was stress, but I thought I was handling everything just fine. I went away. Here I am at like 40 something years old, take off and go to school. In Phoenix, and I leave an area that I grew up. I grew up in Kingman. I've lived here my whole life, never lived somewhere else for very long. I went to Biloxi for 2 weeks, but that was 2 weeks. But, so I went up to Phoenix, and I was up there for about a year and a half. So it's like I was up there and doing practicing, and then I came back to Kingman. It's like all this stuff, and then my mom passed away, and then, long after that, a couple years later, my brother passed away, and it's like I thought I was handling everything fine. Then I got sick. I didn't know whatever was coming from. And I was probably the same thing. We ask all these questions, and we're wanting all this help, and we just don't slow down enough to see it. Now that I've slowed down enough, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. It's like everything's different now. And if I feel like I'm not processing stuff while I'm awake, I'm processing stuff while I'm sleeping. Like I'm having conversations with people, and like it's some weird stuff going on in
Yeah.
this place up here. But I also know at the same time I'm working through stuff, and I'm just letting it be. And it's like we talk about signs, right? So that's paying attention to the signs. It's just messages. We can call it signs, we can call it messages, but all it is messages. We're getting messages all the time for the answers, the questions that we've been asking. And most of the time, we're not even aware, like you said, that we've even been answered until we've heard it 3 times, right?
Right.
Well, you heard it. If you heard it 3 times, that's what they say. If you've heard it 3 times, it's a message for you. No, sister, brother, if you heard it once, it was a message for you.
You asked
It's
the
like,
question and heard the message.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get frustrated because you don't think you're getting the answers, but it's like you are. And you're just in a state right now. You're just in an energetic state that's not allowing yourself to receive this information. And that's where meditation is so great, because it slows you down enough to recognize, oh God, I've been getting that message all day long. Oh gosh, I should have been taking that vitamin a long time ago.
I know.
I heard about it 3 or 4 times, or how many times I've had clients come in and I've talked about, GABA or something, which is just a amino acid that it's not an essential, but it's an amino acid that helps to soothe the body. So if our body's producing too much cortisol, from what I've read and stuff like that, this GABA helps to calm that down, and it calms down the anxiety and, the pit of your stomach. There's just different stuff, and it's like, they still come back and complain about the same thing and never have done anything different about it. It's like, I can give you meditation. It's like we can give you all these tools, but you have to be ready to receive it. You have to be ready to implement one thing. You have to want to do it for yourself. And that's the thing. People don't have time for themselves, they think.
Right.
Until you're dead, and then you're like, realize, oh, I could have had plenty of time for myself. And how much more of a benefit would I have been for everybody around me and myself?
Yep. So a couple things I want to hit up on with you is that because you start slowing down, you realized you were stressed, but because you start slowing down and you changed your way of being,
yes,
the stories of your life you've had different perspectives about, without even having conversations with anybody, just sitting and opening up, right? Because when we're stressed, we're closed. We're like, like this ball of right?
Exactly.
But what happens when you take a breath and relax? Everything opens up. Your mind too. Because in stress and survival, you're in tunnel vision, and you're just seeing your way. You're seeing just like right here. But when you can take those blinders off and you can see around you, you see things differently. And that's, it's a famous quote with Wayne Dyer, is when you change the way you look at things, you look at change, right?
Yes.
And so these stories that you had your perception about, you've relaxed your mind enough that now different information's coming to you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I never saw it that way. I know that was to be true for me too, but that has so much to do with just staying in that victim role, that this happened to me. They did this to me, right? We stay in that victim role when we make those statements. But when we relax and we open up and we see things differently, the past, we see those past stories differently, then you go from that point and you come forward to where you are. Then you go, oh, I see how that happened for me. So life, and I'm hearing this like over and over and over from different teachers, life is not happening to us. Life experiences are happening for us. But our choice is to stay a victim to what we think is happening to us, or be in that space of learning and growing and knowing that life is happening for us. So, and for you and I to be here, we had to go through some shit. We had to go through some healing. We had to gain some knowledge and some skills and some tools. And here we are. Had none of that happened, if we stayed in victim mode, if we stayed in this blame mode, neither one of us would be here, for sure.
True. It's true.
We would still be, had we met, we would still be, you know, raging about what happened to us.
True.
The other thing, I forgot what my point was going to be, so we'll just keep talking and it'll come up. But I really wanted to point that out, like, is getting that different perspective about life, about what experiences you had. You had the experience, but what you do with that information, that is what's going to make your life. Every spiritual teacher, every business teacher, coach, all of them, us included, had some kind of trauma in our life. Every person had some kind of struggle. Depending on the degree for each person, that struggle could be their trauma. So, but they learned, they gained the knowledge to go, okay, well, how can I get through this and be better? Because they, you know, people like your business coaches, they struggled in their life. Like, I know multi-millionaires lived in their cars. They had to go to the living in an apartment, got their water shut off. They had to go to the pool shower to take a shower. You know, it's like hearing these stories from these multi-millionaires, and it's like now they're living the life of their dreams or more. And now they're coaching, now they're teaching, right? They wouldn't have those skills if they hadn't had the struggle. So wherever you are right now is the time for that healing. It doesn't matter how old you are. I've worked with people in their 70s. It does not matter how old you are. Right now is the time. Now, right now, right now. Don't wait till Monday. You know, it's today's probably Thursday or whenever you're watching this. You know, people want to wait till January 1st to start a New Year's resolution. Fuck that. Right now. Well, Thanksgiving's coming. You know, Christmas. I don't care. Right now. Start something right now. Don't wait.
That's right.
I mean, the past is an important piece, but it doesn't define you. I think that's what people hang on to, is like, this is who I am. I'm like, no. Even myself, as long as I've been practicing this, it's like, I want to be and do better. I want to be and do better. That's like a mantra for me. How could I be and do better than I was today? Can I show up differently tomorrow? And so stay in the mud, stay in the tar pit if you wish. That's your choice. I can't make anybody change, but meditation will definitely help you in opening up to a different world and a different perspective.
Help you see what you're holding on to. Because most of the time you're holding on to something. You're maybe holding on to the victim. It's strange when you post on Instagram, or maybe not Instagram so much as Facebook. It's like, but it's like I've been posting a lot of different posts, and it's like I'm not posting it from a victim standpoint. I'm posting it from a, you know, empower yourself standpoint. And it's amazing the responses that I get that can be perceived in a victim standpoint. It's like I didn't even mean it that way. Yeah. But it's like a perspective. So it's like, what are you holding on to? We all hold on to stuff. All of us. And it's like, are you holding on to the drama? If you're looking at stuff and you feel like there's drama, and it's like, where's the drama in your life? How are you holding on to it? Because I've noticed that the more that I've stepped away or stepped into my own power, I guess you could say, or stepped away from stuff I was holding on to that I didn't realize, whether it was stress or drama or the victimhood, I have felt more empowered. I'm just recognizing what I need in my life and what I don't need in my life. And I don't mind that's when people kind of fall away. Not to say they don't come back later on, but they do fall away because they just don't match up with you anymore. They don't match with. I feel like it's because you've learned something. You know, when you look at drama again later on and you don't react from it, you just kind of see it and be like, that's not my shit. It's not mine. That's not my crap. That's what you guys are dealing with right now. And I hope you guys figured it out, you know? I hope you find a happy place. Because that's not mine. And most of the time, all these stories that we're dealing with or the stuff that's in our face, it's not usually ours. It's just something, like you said before, it's just something to recognize and learn from. Learn and grow. That's it. Don't put so much energy and emotion into it. See how you feel about it. See how it's triggering yourself, because that kind of gives you an idea that, yeah, that I do have an emotional attachment, maybe not to the incident, but to the actual energy that's going on, whether it's victim or drama or anger or whatever.
Those things that you're posting, you know, when you post it, you're reading it one way and you're
Yes.
perceiving it one way.
Yes.
When somebody reads it, a couple things is happening. Oh, Bev posted this. She must be having a hard time. So they're trying to bring your personality, your life into the post, and they're targeting it at you as your healing, like you need support. And then the other part of that is whatever you're reading, no matter who posted it, whatever you're reading, you got to notice, what is that stirring up in you?
Yes.
Because like Bev's talking about, she's posting it from a standpoint of, I want people to read these words so that they can empower themselves with this information. So the person who's reading it and is having an uncomfortable feeling, whether they think it's about Bev or not, that Bev is now, if they're thinking about it from a standpoint of Bev is having a problem, then you need to go within because she's a reflection of you.
Exactly.
So
and it's like it's being perceived as that it's either I'm saying it specifically about somebody or that it's about them.
yeah.
And it's like, that's not necessarily true. But then again, it goes back to what you just said, is going in and seeing how you're feeling about this, how you're being affected by this. Because it's not, for me, I want people to understand that we've all been through a lot of crap, and it's to recognize the crap that we're even still allowing around us that we don't even recognize. Abuse, whether it's abusive or whether it's just allowing someone to just be ugly or controlling or whatever around you, that we allow so much and we don't even recognize we're doing it. I want people to be empowered. Step into your own power. It doesn't have to be this way. And I can tell you right now, I feel freaking amazing from the place that I'm coming from now. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I am happy. I couldn't tell you that probably 10 months ago, 2 years ago. I was having places of happiness. I was having more happy moments, but I feel more, in general, I'm mostly happy. I might have some crap that kind of creeps up. I call it crap, but it really is just learning. It's just something for me to look at, to grow through. And that's it.
Yep. And I mean, it took me, stepping on this journey, it took me several years to get to that space to say, I'm happy. Do things come and go that trigger me? Yeah. But I'm not going to sit in it for months and years. I don't sit in the blame mode as long. Still comes up once in a while. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this to me, right? And then, I mean, as soon as the words or the thoughts come out, I'm like, you're giving your power away. You're saying that. So this is what I heard about that recently, which was a great way, because when we're ready to hear it differently is when it comes. That if you're in the space of this happened to me and they did this to me and you're that victim, then you're saying for me to heal, the situation needs to change, which can, because it already happened, or that person needs to change. So you're putting your healing in their hands. And when I heard it that way, I was like, wow. We give so much power to other people because we decide to stay in that victim role. instead of either ixnaying the person out of our life if they're still in it. Doesn't mean you like them, dislike them, love them, don't love them. It has nothing to do with it. It's a healthy boundary for yourself to say, I just don't need to be around this person, or I don't need to answer their text, or I don't need to answer their phone calls, right? We had that conversation.
Yes.
But be creating the space and be around the people, surround yourself with people that you want to, that are emanating what you want. So you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. So if you're hanging around those unhealthy people, you have an unhealthy way of being on all levels, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, because you're the average of these people. You may not realize it. You may like, oh, I'm good, right? No. I'm gonna challenge you on that one. It's time to really take a look at what is your surroundings, what is, especially the people. Just so important. And will they, if you start to distance yourself from them, are they going to get upset? Yes, because you are what they know. But when you start changing, then there's a tug of war, and they will not like it because you're going in a direction that feels good. They know they don't feel, on some level, they know they don't feel good.
Exactly.
On some level, they know it. They may not be able to articulate that, but they know it. So to see you happy or see you in a different space with yourself is foreign to them. It's uncomfortable. They feel rejected. They feel unloved. They don't feel accepted by you. And the fact is, it's not your job. It's their job to love and accept themselves, approve of themselves. And when they're not getting that from an outside source, then they start clinging and fighting and resisting and arguing and trying to stir you up to get you back to conform with what they know. And I know that it's not, I know that you may, I'm not speaking directly to you, Bev, but audiences, I know that you may care about these people, like, family's everything. You're supposed to do everything for family, or, a lifelong best friend or whatever. But at some point, when you step on a journey of making a change, you realize the way you have been. You realize the conversations you have been having. And you recognize that no longer feels good to me. You recognize that, but the other people in your life don't recognize it. They don't got a clue. They don't got a clue. They just know something's going on with you, and they don't like it, and you're not who you used to be, and you're changing, and what's wrong with you, and you're not talking to me. But what you know is, well, I started a meditation practice, and I'm starting to see things a little clearer because I'm being more in my present moment. And I know that this feels good to me to relax and not have all this stress flowing through my body. And because I've been doing that more and more, I recognize that when I am around these people, I tense up. I say things like, why would I say that? Right? I revert back to the person I was, and I know that person doesn't feel good to me. So it's not about the people, it's about the reflection of self-reflection. Mm-hmm. I know I feel good when I'm less stressed, when I'm meditating, when I'm in my space, when I'm, filling my cup up, when I'm nurturing myself. I don't feel as good when I'm around these people. And you just recognize it, and you're just like, my body is like telling me, yeah, probably not gonna be answering your calls for a while. And it's not that you got to verbalize this to them. You don't have to tell them shit. You don't tell them nothing. You just stay on your course, because as soon as you tell them, unless they ask what you're doing differently and they're genuinely interested, that's one thing. But if you begin something, a change and doing something different, and you tell them, oh, I started this meditation practice, I'm really feeling less stressed and la 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 la, and you're just all happy-go-lucky and you're feeling better. As soon as you start telling them their story, what are they going to do? They're going to find a way to tell you what you're doing is wrong.
They'll say, I can't do that. Yeah, I can't do that.
I can't believe you're doing
that.
Meditation is against your religion. I can't believe you're doing that. I mean, they'll come up with anything to drag your ass back to their corner, back into the tar pit. And there may be times, especially if you're new to this type of journey, that you may slip in and you might get up to like your knees in the tar pit, and then you're going to go, what the hell am I doing? Right? I can't go back. This is what I was like, I can't go back to that person.
Oh, no.
I cannot go back to that person. So people that I see now that I used to hang out with in the bars and stuff, the person of me in the bar is what they remember. They don't know me for who I am today. So they're just going off memory. So as soon as hey, you want to do a shot with me? Let's do some tequila. I'm like, no, thank you. And then, then there's the peer pressure, and it's like, dude, fucking said no. I was like, I don't want a shot, right? I'm good. I'm happy with, because I know that when I was drinking like that, I was doing it to be happy. I was a happy drunk. I was the party. I was the life, man. It was great. And now, because the changes I've made, the healing I've done, the meditation and all that, I don't need that anymore. I'm happy now, right? I can experience joy now just by sitting here by myself. I crack myself up all the time with a zit on my nose.
Nice.
But now, I don't have it now. That was last week. But that's what focus does, let me tell you. So, I remember what I wanted to talk about earlier, it was the contemplation. Meditation is contemplation. There's another practice that I do with contemplation, and that's just the only thing I can come up, the only name I can come up with for it. And that is, no matter where you are, I usually use like if you're sitting in a waiting room, in the past, when you're sitting in the waiting room of a doctor's office and the room is full of whatever, kids crying and people grouchy because they're sick, and right, it's just an uncomfortable space to be, that you can sit there and contemplate something. And what I mean by that is you can look at anything around you, any object around you, and contemplate it. And so I had one day, I have a mechanical pencil in my hand right now, but one day I had just a regular, plain old big pen. And I sat there and I was looking at it. And that's how I came up with this. I was looking at it. I was like, I got really intrigued by it, because I was thinking, my first thought when I started thinking about it was like, it's so amazing how they get the ink in those little tubes. I mean, that's just so cool, right? And then from there, it just went from there. The little tip, the little ball, the little itty bitty tiny ball that's in there, so you can write, and the piece that holds that little tiny ball. And then I started focusing on the pieces of the pen. I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of pieces in this pen. And then it was the machines. I'm like, well, there were machines that created each piece of this. Well, there were people who had to create the pieces to put the machines together. And then there's the logo, a logo, somebody had to create the logo, and there was a machine for that. So then it was like, how many people did one pen affect their lives? Providing for their families, their food, their utilities, their clothing, whatever, right? Like, and so that's what I mean by contemplation is you could look at a magazine, a chair, the carpet, the tile, the paint on the wall, the screws in that building, you know, it's just, you could look at anything and just contemplate it. And so we were talking about contemplation earlier, so that was something I just wanted to touch upon, that will bring you, you know, it brings me present with the pen. Like I'm really intrigued by the pen, but I'm going on a journey with it as well. Like, okay, well, these people who, I mean, it goes as far back as creating a writing utensil. And I'm not going to go and look up the history on it. I'm not going to do the research on it. I'm not going to do any of that. It's my contemplation. It's my journey. It's my story. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It doesn't matter. But what is this so freaking fascinating?
And then during that, it takes your attention away from all the stuff that was around you that really was going to make you not feel good. And that gets down to paying attention to how we feel. We've talked about that on so many different times, different times, but we say it in so many different ways. Paying attention when you're going someplace, if you feel obligated to do something, if you feel, because that doesn't feel good, really, and we don't notice it until we slow down enough, or until we're out of a situation, or until whatever. Till you've been able to have time to evaluate or contemplate what you're going through, what you've been feeling, because a lot of times we're not even checking in with ourselves. Paying attention, just when the phone rings, it's like, oh God, it's this person. Then don't answer the phone right now.
If you feel that way, don't answer the phone.
Yeah. Or feel like when you get around certain people, there's going to be certain conversations. It's like, it's not a conversation for you. I remember even setting myself up going to functions and stuff, whether it was family or whatever, and being like, when I go in there, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to laugh and enjoy myself the whole time, and I have. And then later on, someone would say, did you hear such and such were arguing and fighting? And it's like, no, I didn't hear any of it, because I set myself up before going into that place not to feel those things, because I knew that was how I was going to feel. So, I mean, there are ways, I don't know, to function highly, because us being at a high energy, being around other people, even when they're low energy, we don't have to recognize it. We don't have to dip down into their energy to try to soothe it or fix it or do anything with it or to raise them up. It's not our job. Our job is to help keep our energy up high, right? It's for us to focus on that, and so that does so much more for everything else. So if you feel at that moment, oh, I'm not answering this call, or I can't go in there and talk to this person, then don't do it right now.
Yep.
Do it when you feel better. Do it when you talk yourself into a better place or a higher energy space, maybe of joy or happy, or calling on help, or maybe looking up some information to give yourself some more information to bring into the conversation to change things. But don't ever think you're going to go into a conversation changing people, because it's not. Don't think you're going to go, and that's what I realized recently too. I think I've talked about it before, but it's like it's kind of hit me where I'm noticing different levels of myself stepping away from feeling like I have to fix people, feeling like it's my responsibility for them to be happy. I had a client in recently, and she is not always happy, and she struggles with a lot of her own stuff. And so I would always, get her in a good space before she left, and she'd be all happy and like, oh, I just feel so great. And then come back in the next time, same, and I'd get her through the process. And it's like this last time that I had seen this person, I was, I just answered them, and I answered them in the same, when they brought up stuff, I answered them in the same way they would hear it. So kind of matching their energy, but I was joking it off about like just being, I wasn't coming from a people pleasing, from a fixer mode or any of that stuff. I was just coming from a place that I allowed information to flow through me, and she heard exactly what I said from what she could hear. And then she left, feeling kind of the same as she walked in. I mean, she felt better, but she still felt, because she still was telling her the story, holding on to the story. So recognizing when we're doing that, we've all done it. I mean, I feel like we've all done it.
Yep.
It's like you're not allowing yourself for any change in your life if you're still holding on to the same story. If you come into someone and you want them to massage your back, or if you want them to fix your back and help you feel better, and then you're stating during this treatment Oh, I know it'll go away for a little bit and it's just going to come right back. Well, guess what? It's going to come right back. You're setting yourself up for that, but we don't realize it. So slowing down to pay attention to the stories you're holding on to. What are you saying over and over and over again?
Yeah, I'm
And
laughing.
sometimes it takes someone outside of you to actually see it. So, because I've dealt with that. It's like in myself, it's like I've had someone else tell me, you're doing this. I'm like, oh man. Or like, God damn it, I really am doing that. Because we don't pay attention because we get into the story. It's just a
Yep.
habit.
Yep. I'm laughing because I have had clients who, same thing. Their time, their days go by, they're feeling shitty, they come, they see me, they get the coaching, they here, if you do this, this will shift things for you, I guess, and do the work and whatever, whatever our conversation is, but giving them the tools to make the change that they desire and begin to, the change in their life. I mean, here's the prescription here, right? The tools, I'm not saying medication, I'm saying the prescription of tools, the toolbox. Do this, meditate, start practicing being present. I'm not asking you to have no thought, I'm just asking you to practice being present. Name everything in the room, just sit there every day and do this, right? And so then they come back the next week, they still feeling shitty. I'm asking, okay, well, did you implement this meditation technique I took? No, I didn't have time. Okay, well, are you going to commit to doing it? Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. So then, we have the same conversation we had the week before, and then they come back the next week. Still feeling shitty. I'm like, okay, well, did you implement this meditation technique, just being present, just observing everything around? No, I just, I've been sidetracked. Okay, well, next week, just drive by, drop your money off and keep driving because I don't have time for this. This is not serving you and it's not serving me. You're wasting my time. Really, you're wasting my time because I could be doing something different. Instead of having the same conversation we've had for 3 weeks and you're not doing anything different. So next week, just drop your envelope of money off and keep driving because you ain't going to do it anyway. So, I have told clients that. And what they're doing, a client in that space they know it's just like scrolling through Facebook looking for all the things, it's that dopamine hit. They know that when they come to you, they're going to feel better. So their whole weekend is shit. And when they come see you, they're going to get that hit. They're going to feel good for a little bit. They know it feels good. That's why they come. But then the next day, they're right back in it. They're probably that night, actually. They're right back in it. But they got that hit just for a moment. They just need that moment. It's like, taking that pill to get you high or whatever for a moment. But once you come out of it, your reality is still there and you still have to deal with it. Because people do, and honestly, I'm talking from a space of experience. I did this, I resisted it for so long. It's too hard to make a change. It's too hard to meditate. I don't have time. My life is so busy. You don't have time not to meditate. That is something, if you want to feel better, if you want to do something different than what you've been doing, if you desire happiness and joy more often, if you desire to be relaxed and get out of that survival mode, you have to make the change. Doesn't matter how many massages you get. It doesn't matter how many coaching sessions you get. Unless you take the reins and go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to implement what Bev told me to do. I'm going to do these stretches. I'm going to, move my body each day, even if it's for a short walk. I'm going to implement these meditation techniques of just looking at the stuff around me. I mean, if you're sitting there watching TV, you can look at the ceiling, go, oh, there's a ceiling fan. Oh, there's a vent. There's an alarm. Right? You have time to do that.
Yeah.
But
so take the time for yourself.
People put this connotation of it's hard to make a change. It's hard to stay in the tar pit. That is hard.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, like that, because there's so much resistance. Can you imagine being in a tar pit trying to walk? How much resistance there is? How much struggle there is? When you put your canoe in the water in the river, or just sitting in a calm body of water, how easy that is. You don't have to paddle, you just sit there. Let the breeze blow you around, or you flow with the current. How easy that is. So you get to choose, right? Stay stressed, stay in survival, stay in resistance, or fucking meditate. That's the title of this one. Fucking meditate. That's what I'm going to put on the title. Not really. Probably get banned.
And back to the messages, right? So recognizing you've been asking questions, allow yourself to hear the messages. They're everywhere. Whether it's from me, you, or you overhear a conversation, you watch a movie, you hear a song, you see some numbers, you see a hawk, whatever it is, there's messages. Are you going to take the time to listen? Are you going to take the time to go look up and see what that meaning might be and see how it resonates with you? Are you going to take the time for yourself? Because there's messages all around you all day long. You
Every
bring forward.
day.
And I don't even tell people just to stretch. It's whatever comes in that conversation. I might say, hey, it might benefit you to write on a piece of paper these emotions. You don't have to express them to anybody else. Put them on a piece of paper, release it, burn them afterwards, cut it up, whatever you want to do. But it's like if you're not willing to do these things for yourself, then it's all right. But it's a choice, and you'll get there when you get there. It's like I always tell everyone, when you're going to evolve, you're going to, everything's going to happen as fast as you let it.
Yep. So true. So true. We speak so much truth. I don't know. I hope people can hear it.
Sometimes I got to hear it too. So.
Well, we know that's why we have these conversations. It's really for
That's
us,
right.
We're just sharing it. Whoever wants to hear it.
That's right.
Awesome. So, love it. I love it. I love every part of it. It's great.
It's great.
So, we're at the top of the hour, so we are going to call it and say thank you so much. We hope that you do decide to do something different with your life to make that change. Take the reins, put your healing and your power back into your hands and stop giving it to everybody else. One way you can do that, start being present in your day by being present in the moment with whatever you are, wherever you are, and whatever you're doing, and begin some sort of meditation or relaxation process. So with that, thank you for being with us with Tea Time with Amie and Bev, and we will see you next week.
Bye.